Thank you for joining us to today's podcast, Why We Do the Things We Do, St. Patrick's Day edition.
St. Patrick's Day, celebrated every year on March 17th, honors the patron saint of Ireland. Born around 385 CE in Roman Britain, likely present-day Wales, as Maewyn Succat. Maewyn, aka Patrick, was kidnapped as a teenager by Irish pirates and taken to Ireland as a slave. After 6 years, he escaped, later returning voluntarily to Ireland as a missionary around 432 CE, at which time he changed his name to Patrick. Over the next 3 decades, Patrick famously converted many Irish pagans to Christianity, often using simple symbols, such as the shamrock, to illustrate complex theological concepts like the Trinity. Patrick died on March 17, 461 CE. Initially, his feast day was a religious observance far from the joyous, global celebration it is today.
Initially, St. Patrick's Day was observed as a solemn religious feast in Ireland to honor the saint who played a pivotal role in converting Ireland to Christianity. Over time, as Irish immigrants dispersed around the globe, particularly during the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century, this celebration evolved into a broader cultural festival celebrating Irish heritage, identity, and pride. Today, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated widely, not only in Ireland but in countries with large populations of Irish descent, such as the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, as well as by people worldwide who enjoy the spirited festivities. Green became associated with St. Patrick's Day primarily in the 18th century. Initially, blue was the color associated with St. Patrick himself. However, green became prominent because of Ireland's nickname, the Emerald Isle. The green shamrock Patrick reportedly used to explain the Christian Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and because Irish nationalists adopted green during the struggle for independence from British rule. Wearing green symbolizes Irish identity and pride, as well as strict time renewal. Irish music and dance play a significant role in St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Many cities and towns host concerts, Sealies, traditional Irish social gatherings with music and dancing, and performances featuring Irish musicians, dancers, and bands. Although commonly considered traditional Irish, corned beef wasn't a staple in Ireland. It was popularized among Irish-American immigrants in the U.S. during the 19th century because it was inexpensive compared to traditional Irish bacon. Lesser known fact, potatoes, synonymous with Irish cuisine, are native to South America and didn't reach Ireland until the late 16th century. The first recorded St. Patrick's Day parade didn't occur in Ireland but in New York City in 1762. Organized by Irish soldiers in the British Army. Lesser known fact, until 1970, St. Patrick's Day was strictly a religious holiday in Ireland, and pubs were legally required to close. Drinking and celebrations occurred largely abroad. St. Patrick used the shamrock, a 3-leaf clover, to explain the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Lesser known fact, there's no historical evidence that Patrick ever actually used shamrocks. This story appeared centuries later, around the 18th century.
The pinching tradition doesn't date back to ancient Ireland or St. Patrick himself. Instead, it began as an American folk custom in the early 18th and 19th centuries, specifically within Irish immigrant communities in the United States. Irish immigrants celebrated St. Patrick's Day as a joyful occasion of cultural pride and community bonding. As Irish Americans settled in the U.S., the day evolved beyond religious observance into festive social events with parades and customs. Pinching emerged as a playful, social tradition meant to encourage people to visibly show their Irish pride by wearing green. The rationale behind pinching centers around folklore concerning leprechauns, mischievous, mythical Irish fairies who supposedly pinch anyone they can see clearly. Wearing green was said to render a person invisible to these mischievous creatures, so failing to wear green invited playful punishment, a pinch, to remind people of their vulnerability to fairy pranks. Thus,
drinking, particularly Irish stout like Guinness, became associated with St. Patrick's Day largely due to clever marketing campaigns by brewers in the 20th century. Lesser known fact, green brew was first created in America by Dr. Thomas Cotton in 1914 in New York City. Chicago's tradition of dyeing its river green began in 1962 after city workers initially used green dye to trace illegal waste dumping. Lesser known fact, the green dye used to tan the Chicago River green is vegetable-based, environmentally safe, and tans the river green for about 5 hours. The earliest historical records show Ireland had no native snake species following the last ice age. Geological and archaeological evidence confirms that Ireland's climate and geography prevented snakes from ever naturally inhabiting the island. Thus, the tale that Patrick literally drove snakes from the country cannot be taken as historical fact. Instead, historians and religious scholars believe the story emerged as a metaphor for Patrick's mission of converting Ireland from paganism to Christianity. In ancient Celtic cultures, snakes are symbolic of pagan religious beliefs and rituals. Druids, the influential priestly caste of pre-Christian Ireland, often utilized serpent symbolism in their practices, associating snakes with fertility, rebirth, and wisdom. By banishing snakes, the legend metaphorically celebrates Patrick's success in suppressing these older spiritual traditions and introducing Christianity as the dominant religion on the island. When Patrick began his missionary work in the 5th century, Ireland was primarily pagan, practicing Celtic polytheism under the guidance of Druid priests. Patrick's primary goal was converting pagan tribes and leaders to Christianity, a daunting task involving significant resistance. Patrick was strategic, choosing to convert pietical Irish chieftains first, knowing the general population would follow the leader's spiritual direction. Because Druids and pagan practices presented the strongest resistance to Patrick's new teachings, they were represented metaphorically by snakes. Thus, Patrick's banishing snakes symbolized triumph over paganism rather than literal snakes. St. Patrick's Day is now celebrated worldwide, transcending Irish heritage. From parades in New York and Boston to festive celebrations in Australia, Japan, and South America, it has become a global occasion for joy, camaraderie, and appreciation of Irish culture and heritage.
Thank you for watching. We wish you the best of luck this St. Patrick's Day.